Is stage 4 and 5 kidney disease really the one-way ticket to dialysis you've been warned about? When my uncle's GFR dropped to 18, his nephrologist said dialysis was inevitable. I refused to accept that. After months digging through clinical research, I uncovered a 5-step protocol that combines a specific diet for overlooked vitamins, blood sugar reversal, and natural blood pressure control. This same protocol has helped late-stage patients actually rebuild kidney function. Today I'll walk you through every step. Before we begin, share your age, where you're watching from, and your latest creatinine below. I read every comment. Here is something most people with stage 4 and 5 kidney disease never get told: the reason your kidneys keep losing function, even when you are taking every medication on schedule, might shock you. It is not the disease moving faster than your treatment. It is what sits on your plate 3 times a day, quietly undoing everything those pills are trying to protect. No vitamin, no supplement, no herbal remedy can rebuild a single nephron if your diet keeps feeding the damage. Diet is the foundation, and without it, the next 4 steps simply will not work. The shift you need is toward a plant-based, low-protein, low-phosphorus eating pattern. That sounds restrictive, but it is the only pattern shown in controlled trials to slow GFR decline. Building on the landmark Modification of Diet and Renal Disease trial funded by the National Institutes of Health, the 2020 KDOQI guidelines from the National Kidney Foundation now recommend that adults with stage 3 to 5 CKD limit protein to 0.55 to 0.60 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. A 2019 study in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, following more than 14,000 adults, linked higher plant-based diet adherence to a 14% lower risk of incident CKD. Let me show you exactly where to start. Number 1. Oats. The active compound in oats is beta-glucan, a soluble fiber that does 2 jobs at once. It lowers LDL cholesterol, which protects the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys, and it feeds the good bacteria in your gut so they produce fewer uremic toxins like indoxyl sulfate. Less toxin in your blood means less work for your kidneys. Eat half a cup of rolled oats, soaked overnight in water and cooked with no added salt or dairy. Morning is best, on an empty stomach, before any medication. Number 2. Quinoa. Quinoa is a complete plant protein, meaning it gives your body all 9 essential amino acids without the heavy phosphorus load of meat. The phosphorus in plant foods is bound to phytate, so only about 40 to 50% is absorbable, compared to nearly 100% absorption from processed foods. Rinse it thoroughly to remove the bitter coating, then simmer 1 part quinoa to 2 parts water for 15 minutes. 3/4 of a cup at lunch keeps your protein adequate without overloading the kidneys. Number 3. Pumpkin. Pumpkin delivers slow-release carbohydrates and beta-carotene without the high potassium load of many other root vegetables. The mechanism here matters. When your kidneys are damaged, your body still needs energy, and if you do not get it from carbohydrates, it pulls from your own muscle protein, which then produces more urea and more creatinine. Steam pumpkin cubes for 10 minutes, or roast them with a small amount of olive oil. Have it with dinner, so the slow energy release supports overnight repair. Just as important as what to add is what to remove. Red meat, processed foods, excess salt, alcohol, and tobacco are not just unhelpful. They actively accelerate kidney decline. Red meat creates an acid load your damaged kidneys cannot buffer. Processed foods hide inorganic phosphorus additives that absorb at nearly 100%. A single high-sodium meal can raise your blood pressure for the next 24 hours. Once your diet is in place, You have built the foundation. But food alone is not enough. There are 4 specific vitamins that more than 80% of CKD patients are critically low in, and one of them is so commonly missed that ignoring it can speed up your decline by years. Are you taking your daily multivitamin, eating cleaner, and still watching your creatinine number creep up every month? You are doing the right things, but you may be missing the targeted nutrients your damaged kidneys actually need. A general drugstore multivitamin was designed for healthy adults. It is not designed for failing kidneys. There are 4 specific vitamins that can change the trajectory of your CKD, and one of them is so commonly deficient that ignoring it is like leaving the tap running while you mop the floor. Number 1, Vitamin D. Healthy kidneys convert vitamin D into its active form, calcitriol. When your kidneys are damaged, that conversion fails. The result is bone loss, faster GFR decline, higher mortality risk, and chronic inflammation across the body. Research published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases and other major nephrology journals consistently shows that more than 80% of CKD patients are vitamin D insufficient, and this deficiency is directly linked to faster GFR decline. For stages 1 through 3A, 2000 IU of vitamin D3 in the morning with a fatty meal works for most adults. For stages 4 and 5, your kidneys cannot activate D3 anymore, so your nephrologist will need to prescribe calcitriol or paracalcitol, a pre-activated form your body can use directly. Number 2, vitamin K2. Here is the part most doctors forget to mention. When you take vitamin D, your body absorbs more calcium from food. Without vitamin K2 in the picture, that extra calcium does not always land in your bones. It can deposit in your arteries instead, including the small vessels feeding your kidneys, and accelerate vascular calcification. The Rotterdam study, which followed more than 4,800 adults over 10 years, found that those with the highest vitamin K2 intake had a 52% lower risk of severe arterial calcification. Take 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 in the 7 Malawian kwaches form alongside your vitamin D, with the same fatty meal. If you are on warfarin, talk to your doctor first. Number 3, the B complex. Each B vitamin does a different job for your kidneys. Vitamin B6, in its active P5P form, has been shown to lower oxalate buildup and improve filtration in early CKD. Vitamins B12 and folate, which is B9, support healthy red blood cell production, helping protect against the anemia that almost every late-stage patient develops. Vitamin B1, also called benfotiamine in its fat-soluble form, protects the small vessels of the kidney from glycation damage in diabetic CKD. A high-quality methylated B complex taken with breakfast covers all of these. Look for methylcobalamin instead of cyanocobalamin, and methylfolate instead of folic acid, especially if you have the MTHFR gene variant. Number 4, vitamin C. Vitamin C matters, but the rule for kidney patients is different from everyone else. Healthy adults can tolerate up to 1,000 milligrams per day. For CKD, the National Kidney Foundation advises keeping intake under 100 milligrams per day, because excess vitamin C metabolizes into oxalate, which can form crystals in your already struggling kidneys and even seed new stones. A single red bell pepper, a small kiwi, or half a guava per day usually covers it without any supplement at all. If you do take a tablet, choose 75 to 90 milligrams from a reputable brand, never the 1,000 milligram megadoses you see in pharmacies. You now have diet and vitamins working together. But there is one driver of kidney damage so powerful no amount of food can outrun it, and most people get the cause completely wrong. They blame rice and bread, when the real culprit is hiding around your waistline. That is what we are unpacking in Step 3. 9 out of 10 people with kidney disease and type 2 diabetes are making the same mistake right now, and it is not the mistake you think. They are cutting rice. They are cutting bread. They are checking their fasting glucose every morning, watching it refuse to budge, and blaming the carbohydrates. The carbohydrates are not the villain. The real damage is happening somewhere else entirely, and until you understand where, your kidneys will keep paying the price for a problem you cannot see. Type 2 diabetes is the single leading cause of kidney failure worldwide. According to the United States Renal Data System, roughly 38 to 47% of all new dialysis cases trace back to diabetic nephropathy. High blood sugar damages the tiny filtering units of your kidneys, the glomeruli, scarring them year after year. So solving diabetes is not a side project. It is central to saving your kidney function. Here is the part that breaks the conventional wisdom. The active compound driving your diabetes is not carbohydrate. It is the fat that has accumulated inside your liver and pancreas. Professor Roy Taylor at Newcastle University proved this with the twin cycle hypothesis. When excess calories, from any source, get stored as fat inside these two organs, the liver stops responding to insulin and the pancreas stops producing it properly. Your blood sugar rises not because rice is poison, but because your liver is too full of fat to absorb the glucose, and your pancreas is too clogged to release the insulin you need. This is why visceral fat, the fat wrapped around your organs, matters more than the number on your bathroom scale. The direct trial, published in The Lancet in 2018 and followed up in 2019, took 306 adults with type 2 diabetes through a structured weight loss program. Those who lost 15 kilograms or more achieved diabetes remission in 86% of cases. Even those who lost 10 to 15 kilograms hit 57% remission. No medication has ever come close to these numbers. Follow-up scans showed why. Fat had left the liver and pancreas, and normal function returned. Here is how to apply this to your kidneys. Number 1. Lose the visceral fat. A modest weight loss of 10 to 15% of your starting body weight, taken from your waistline rather than your face or limbs, is what reverses insulin resistance. Measure your waist monthly. For most adults, a waist circumference under 90 centimeters for men and under 80 centimeters for women is the safer zone. Number 2, eat smart carbohydrates, not zero. Cutting carbs entirely is unnecessary and often leaves elderly CKD patients weaker. The trick is choosing carbohydrates that release slowly. Quinoa, oats, and pumpkin from Step 1 are exactly the right kind. Avoid white bread, sugary drinks, and refined snacks, because these spike both glucose and the fat storage hormone insulin at the same time. Number 3, walk for 15 minutes after every meal. A short walk after eating, even at a slow pace, pulls glucose directly into your muscle cells without needing extra insulin. A 2022 meta-analysis published in Sports Medicine found that just 2 to 5 minutes of light walking after a meal significantly reduced blood sugar spikes. 15 minutes is even better. Do this after breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You are now removing the biggest driver of kidney damage at its root. But a second silent destroyer locks almost every CKD patient in a vicious loop with the kidneys, and the medications most often prescribed for it may quietly be making things worse. If you want to lower your blood pressure without piling more strain onto your already struggling kidneys, you need to understand the cycle you are stuck in. High blood pressure damages the small blood vessels in your kidneys. Damaged kidneys then push your blood pressure even higher by retaining sodium and releasing more renin. The two feed each other in a loop, and breaking it is the difference between stable kidney function and a fast slide toward dialysis. Here is what nobody warns you about. The medications most often prescribed for this, ACE inhibitors like lisinopril and ARBs like losartan, can drop your GFR by 10 to 30% in the first few weeks and need careful monitoring of potassium and creatinine. They are not bad drugs, and you should not stop them on your own. But they cannot do everything. You need natural support working underneath them so they do less heavy lifting and stop putting pressure on your filters. That natural support comes in two forms. Number 1, vitamin D. The active form of vitamin D, calcitriol, directly suppresses the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, the same hormonal loop that ACE inhibitors target. This was shown in landmark research by Lee and colleagues published in the Journal of Clinical Investigation, which proved that vitamin D acts as a negative regulator of renin gene expression. In plain language, vitamin D quiets the signal that tells your body to raise blood pressure, and it does so on the same target your ACE inhibitor is already attacking. That is why correcting your vitamin D often makes the same dose of medication hit harder. A 2019 meta-analysis in the journal Nutrients, pooling data from over 30 trials, found that vitamin D supplementation in deficient adults lowered systolic blood pressure by an average of 3 to 5 millimeters of mercury. Many doctors will then drop your medication dose accordingly. 2000 IU of vitamin D3 in the morning, taken with a fatty meal for absorption, is the starting point for early-stage CKD. We will cover the late-stage protocol shortly. Number 2, magnesium. Magnesium is the natural calcium channel blocker your body already makes use of. It relaxes the smooth muscle inside your blood vessel walls, allowing them to widen and let blood through with less force. It also lowers nervous system overactivity, the stress signal that keeps your blood pressure high at rest. A 2016 meta-analysis published in the journal Hypertension, reviewing 34 trials and over 2,000 participants, found that 300 to 450 milligrams of magnesium daily for at least 3 months reduced systolic blood pressure by 2 millimeters of mercury and diastolic by nearly 2 millimeters of mercury, on average. For CKD patients, choose magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate, never magnesium oxide, which is poorly absorbed. Take 300 to 400 milligrams with dinner, because magnesium also calms the nervous system and improves sleep quality, which itself lowers nighttime blood pressure. If you are stage 4 or 5, ask your doctor before starting, since magnesium clearance is reduced in advanced kidney disease. If you prefer to start with food, a small handful of pumpkin seeds or 2 squares of dark chocolate over 70% cacao deliver a meaningful dose. Notice that vitamin D appears in 2 of our steps so far. It is that important. But there is a critical detail almost everyone gets wrong, and getting it wrong can actually accelerate the calcification of your arteries. The form of vitamin D matters. The dose changes by stage. And without 2 specific partner nutrients, the whole protocol falls apart. That is what we are locking in next, in our final step. The formula I use to safely correct vitamin D in chronic kidney disease, without quietly hardening your arteries or burning through your magnesium reserves, comes down to 3 non-negotiable parts. Get any one of them wrong, and the supplement that was supposed to protect your kidneys can speed up the damage instead. Most people swallow a single vitamin D capsule with their morning coffee and assume that is enough. For a healthy adult, maybe. For you, it is half a job done at best, and a slow harm at worst. Start with the form, because this is where most people go wrong. The over-the-counter vitamin D3 you see in pharmacies is calcifiol. It must travel to your liver and then to your kidneys to be converted into calcitriol, the hormonally active form your body actually uses. If you are at stage 1, 2, or 3A, your kidneys can still do this conversion, so 2000 IU of vitamin D3 in the morning, taken with a tablespoon of olive oil, avocado, or any fatty food for absorption, is appropriate. If you are stage 3B, 4, or 5, your kidneys have lost most of that conversion ability. Taking more D3 just builds up in your tissue without becoming active. This is why nephrologists prescribe vitamin D analogs like calcitriol, paracalcitol, or doxorcalciferol, which are already activated. The 2017 KDOQI Clinical Practice Guidelines on CKD mineral and bone disorder explicitly recommend these analogs for stage 4 and 5 patients with secondary hyperparathyroidism. Do not buy them online. Do not self-dose. This step belongs in your nephrologist's office. Now the 2 partner nutrients that almost nobody tells you about. Number 1. Vitamin K2 in the 7 Malawian kwaches form. 200 micrograms daily. Vitamin D increases the calcium absorbed from your gut, but vitamin K2 decides where that calcium ends up. Specifically, K2 activates a protein called matrix GLA protein, which pulls calcium out of your arteries and directs it back into your bones. Without K2, your D supplement is sending calcium into circulation with no traffic cop, and a portion of it can deposit in your vascular walls. The Rotterdam study referenced earlier showed a 52% reduction in severe arterial calcification with higher K2 intake. Take 200 micrograms of 7 Malawian kwaches alongside your vitamin D, with the same fatty meal in the morning. Skip this if you are on warfarin without first speaking to your cardiologist. Number 2, magnesium glycinate or citrate, 300 to 400 milligrams daily. Here is the part that quietly causes problems. Vitamin D activation, calcium binding, and parathyroid regulation all depend on magnesium as a cofactor. When you start supplementing vitamin D without adding magnesium, you accelerate the depletion of an already low mineral, and symptoms like muscle cramps, irregular heartbeat, and fatigue appear within weeks. A 2018 paper in the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association concluded that vitamin D cannot be properly metabolized without adequate magnesium. Take 300 to 400 milligrams in the evening, in glycinate or citrate form, away from your D dose so absorption is cleanest. Putting all 5 steps together, you now have a complete protocol. A plant-centered diet that stops feeding the damage. A targeted vitamin stack instead of a generic multi. A direct attack on the visceral fat driving diabetes. Natural blood pressure control with vitamin D and magnesium working alongside your medication. And the precise vitamin D formula that holds the whole protocol together without backfiring. Track your numbers every month. Tell me your GFR and creatinine in the comments. I read every one, and we walk this path together.